Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Chats with Chaudrey. I hope the sun is shining where you are. It was shining where I was, but it's got cloudy all over again. Anyway, the sun hopefully is shining where my guest is today. But today I'm joined by Scott Kenny, who is from Sepha Limited. And today we're talking about small batch packaging. So, Scott, how are you, my friend? Is it sunny where you are today?
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi Rizwan. Yeah, the sun is shining for a change. It's few and far between here in Belfast actually, so we'll take it when it comes.
Well, I'm very jealous because it's been a bit of an on and off day today here in Surrey. But anyway, let's talk about small batch packaging. But before we do that, would you mind talking or giving viewers a quick overview of Sepha and also a little bit about your own background as well?
Yeah, sure. So Sepha, we've been in the industry for over 40 years now. We actually come up with the first de-blistering machine, and have a well-developed range of products with that. But that's kind of how the company was founded and started. Since then, we developed some further equipment in blister packaging and also non-destructive leak detection and CCIT. So yeah, I think as an overall view of the equipment side of the business, that's the summary. And recently, then we have a new business venture, which is, I guess, really just trying to leverage the knowledge which we've gained over the past 40 years, and yeah, try to support customers with the service type base as well.
Right. Okay. And your background?
So I joined Sepha as a mechanical engineer and joined about 10 years ago. I worked on that side of the business for about 6.5 years. Um, Really just, designing machines, designing lots of tooling, flying all over the world, visiting customers, validating machines and things like that. And then, yeah, about 3.5 years ago, I moved to the commercial side of the business, where I have been the area sales manager for Northern Europe and now involved in the new business venture.
Great. Okay. So let's talk about small batch packaging. So, over the last 12 to 18 months, what are the most common problems customers have been talking to you about around small batch packaging?
Yeah, so a lot of this stems really from requirements from some of our current customers, and they had approached us, like I say, over the past 12 to 18 months with various different types of projects and different types of problems that they're facing when they're trying to outsource these to a service provider. And some of those problems kind of just include working with maybe a high potency drug, which some providers may not really want to bring into their site. And Sepha does not operate a highly regulated GMP facility, and so it's a little bit easier for us to work with those types of drugs. And on top of that, we've been working with customers for small batch packaging for stability studies, and working with customers that have quite a bespoke, sort of package design, which conventional production lines would maybe struggle just due to the size of the package. Um, and then on top of that, we've been working with a number of customers really just on the proof of concept, design, development, material selection, and things like that.
Right. Okay. So obviously small batch runs have become more prevalent. So why are they more prevalent these days, would you say?
Yeah, I think just in general, there's a general trend in the pharmaceutical industry that's leaning towards small batch, and both small batch manufacturing and small batch packaging. And on top of that, when we look at, for example, clinical studies, new drug applications and new clinical studies are growing at about 10% a year, give or take. Depending on the type of clinical study, but it's generally accompanied by some form of stability work as well,
Right.
all of which require small batch packaging. I think sorry, on top of that, we have sort of patient compliance, senior friendly child resistance testing and things like that. And all of which again require just some packs to trial, and to verify that design is adequate and fit for purpose. And on top of that, there's certainly been seeing, quite a few more startups, and maybe more in the healthcare and nutraceutical side of things, which are, maybe just looking for some proof of concept work and some, pilot sort of batches and things like that.
Right. Okay. And what would you define as a small batch in terms of a maximum number? Because obviously if it's a small batch, the minimum number is not the issue; it's the maximum. So, what would you regard as a maximum number for a small batch run?
Yeah, I guess it's when we talk about small batches, it can be a little bit subjective. And ultimately, we don't really have any constraints in that respect. We don't really work towards minimum order quantities. And in terms of the larger, yeah, well, what's a small batch for one person could be a large batch for another. So I think small batch for us maximum would be maybe 500,000 packs a year or something like that.
Right. Okay.
And anything above that, yeah, you're sort of in two line territory. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And how can you then, with the services you offer, help those companies who only need a small run?
Yeah, I think as a business, there's a number of different ways in which we can approach that. So, of course, if the customer would like to, to keep this internal, then we can simply supply them some equipment, get their personnel trained up and allow them to, to carry out that sort of process or that project internally. So there's no problems with that. And additionally, maybe if the customer is just looking to outsource this, then there's a number of different ways in which we can support them and support that project, whether it's through sort of tooling and package design, and helping the guys sort of navigate the wide range of materials and material combinations that are out there. And we have a very flexible process here at Sepha, so we can produce pretty much anything that the customer requires in any sort of given material combination. And with that, we design and manufacture all of our tooling in house. So yeah, I think our turnaround times and flexibility is where we can stand out.
Right. Okay. And I suppose that touches on with my next, which was what makes your service unique, because I'm sure there's other companies which are doing outsourced services already for small batches. So what makes it unique in terms of what you're offering?
Sure. So yeah, although we may be, a relative newcomer to, I guess, the services side of this industry, we have been here for like I say, 40 years, give or take. And with that, we've worked with pretty much every multinational out there. So we have a really, we have a big wealth of understanding in terms of their requirements. And yeah, we're really just looking to leverage the knowledge that we've gained over the past 40 years. I think additional to that, what we've certainly been finding from our customers is that, other service providers are not particularly flexible when it comes to the smaller batches. I think those businesses are very highly driven by efficiencies. So, taking on, if it's maybe just 500 packs for proof of concept or 5,000 for stability, it can be a little bit difficult for some of those guys to take on that work. I think additional to that, we have a wealth of, like say, experience in designing sort of blister packs and developing with different materials, and quite a large library of I guess previous packs, which which we've already designed and are essentially there fit for use. I think lastly, we can again leverage some of our existing equipment as well. If you have a project for stability, we can look to non-destructively leak test all of the packages before stability. Again, just to minimize risk. And if there's maybe some data points which weren't expected, then at least we know that the integrity of that package pre-stability was good. And then I think lastly, we can use recovery techniques with deblistering equipment just to make sure that there's essentially no waste in the process.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. And when you are sort of approached by a company on a project, what are sort of the main criteria or main questions that you normally ask them before you actually undertake that project?
Yeah, I think the first question is really just to ask whether they have a requirement for that packaging to be done under a GMP environment. And there's obviously a lot of regulation associated with that. And so that would be the first question. I think secondly, we would really just get a better understanding of their requirements and their project and their timescales. But yeah, I think certainly as a starting point, that's where we would go.
All right. Now you mentioned obviously that there are trends which have driven small batch packaging. So what do you what are those trends, and how do you see them continuing in the future?
Yeah, I think generally the trend in the pharmaceutical industry is certainly leaning towards smaller batch production. Um, I think we see that a lot, I guess, with gene and sort of cell therapies and those
Right.
types of, I guess, new innovations and how they sort of work towards it, almost like a batch of one, very personalized medicine, and
Sure.
which lends itself, very well, obviously, to small batch manufacture, small batch packaging, and kind of decentralized production as well. Rather than having maybe one large packaging site and manufacturing site which
Sure.
deals with a certain geographical area, you may have multiple sites a little bit more spread out.
Sure. So that's great. Thank you for giving me that overview, Scott. I mean, it's really interesting because, like you said, the trend is moving towards small batch manufacturing as well. So it's interesting to see how you're accommodating customers and helping them with that. So if people want to get more information, where can they get more information about not just your services, but learn more about small batch packaging in general?
Sure, yeah. I think the first protocol is just our website, and we've loads of great content on white papers and information there. Sepha.com. If you want to get in touch with myself, you're welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. Send me a message, no problems. Or you can email us at info@sepha.com as well.
Fantastic, Scott. Well, thank you very much for going through all of that with me today.
No
I
problem.
know this is the first time you've done sort of an interview like this, so I appreciate you going through that. It's always
Yeah,
nerve-wracking the first time, so thank you for that. You've done a great job.
yeah, not a
And
problem.
thank you all for watching. I hope you found that interesting and learned more about small batch packaging. If you've got any questions, then please leave them below the video for Scott. You can message him directly, as he said as well, on LinkedIn. You can go to the info@sepha.com, and you can also check out the Sepha website, which link will be above the video. So as always, Scott, thank you very much for joining me. I wish the sun continues to shine where you are in Belfast all the way through the weekend into the weekend. I
Fingers
hope,
crossed, yeah.
oh yeah, and I hope the sun continues to shine where you are. I'm off to go and watch England hopefully beat Germany. My apologies to all my German connections, but obviously I really want England to win. So come on, England. So I hope you enjoy the weather. I hope you enjoy the Euros. I hope the sun continues to shine wherever you are. And until next time, as always, stay well and stay safe. Bye-bye.